好，世界嘅香港大家好啊！大家都知道咧，就因為港版國安法之下咧，就啱啱個最新嘅消息咧，就係612基金嘅陳日君樞機何韻詩唔可以大律師，咁同埋有位許教授啦，就喺機場拉咗，咁就何秀蘭就其實就坐緊監嘅。咁我依家咧就同 Mark Simon 咧就蘋果日報黎智英先生嘅助理咧，就一齊傾下關於呢件事。Mark, it's good to have you appearing on broadcast live at Etchinmore and Etchin Live. This is shocking news.
Thanks. I'm sorry I'm still wearing a baseball cap, but I've been up early on the phone, so I haven't had a chance to jump in the shower yet.
Right. At first, I thought they just arrested Professor Hoy because he was trying to go for some sort of educational.
Yeah, he was going over to Europe for he got a job in Europe and was just leaving.
Right. And then now the news is that Cardinal Zhang also got arrested.
Yeah, Cardinal Zhen, Margaret Un, Denise Ho, and also they arrested Sid Ho, who was inside of prison already.
Yes. Now I'm just reading the South China Morning Post because they seem to know everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, AFP looks like AFP broke it.
Right.
I got a phone call from somebody in the diocese this morning, early, that Cardinal had been picked up. My understanding is, as of an hour, about 40 minutes ago, the person who would know says he has not been released yet. This is really something. I mean, this is really a major step. And Cardinal Zhen would not be arrested without Beijing's blessing. There is no way, because they know the implications of this. And in Hong Kong, it was pointedly, some of the Beijing press would say, why isn't Cardinal Joseph Zhen being arrested? And everybody knew why, because basically that's a big fight to have. I mean, this man has been all over the world. People know who he is, and you're almost begging a response from really not just the Vatican, but from, world governments. In other words, that's why I think he will get bail. I think the idea of keeping him in would almost 100% guarantee even a rush to sanctions on Hong Kong. I think you're going to see a lot of people very upset with this. I mean, I've already gotten 4 or 5 calls this morning from various lawmaker staff who want to know what's going on. And so it really shows that they are not really slowing down.
Right. Is it to show John Lee? It's more like an iron fist type of new CE, just to show the whole world that he is a no nonsense guy.
Yes, but I don't think John Lee controlled this arrest. This arrest had to come from Beijing. It was long in the making. This is the problem that Hong Kong has. They have funded this, and it's not technical. I think everyone understands this. They have funded this massive national security apparatus there. I think we both saw they have a 2-year budget of close to $1 billion. Now, this is a city. So imagine giving New York City $1 billion for 2 to 3 years, maybe 2 years, to run an internal security agency, not a police department, but an internal security agency. So these guys are going after everybody on everything. The 612 had been shut down. So the idea that you would arrest them after you've eliminated the organization, that just shows you 2 things. First of all, Beijing is going to stamp out every single bit of threat. So in other words, Hong Kong is now like the mainland in every single way in terms of, basically state security control. And the other thing is that they don't really seem to care, about who they pick up. They don't. That doesn't really matter. Cardinal Zhen's in his 80s. You just picked
90.
up.
I think he's 91.
90s. That's right. I thought 92. So you've just picked up a man, and I think we both know Cardinal Zhen. I mean, I've traveled with Cardinal Zhen 4 or 5 times, around. And boy, I'll tell you what. talk about taking a tiger by the tail here. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. But I would think that they probably will release him because, first of all, the charges would dictate that they should. Secondly, I'm sure this was done by the security agency and with the security people from Beijing. I can't imagine the serious politicians in Jiangnan High thinking this is a good move. In other words, the threat is over, the fund is shut down, just let these people move on. And because we know who else they picked up too. They picked up, who else did they pick up? They picked up Margaret Un. Margaret Un is not just a barrister. Everyone has to understand, Margaret is not just a Hong Kong barrister. Margaret is one of probably the most respected people, even top 10 in the English language legal system. And Margaret is first rate as they come as a British barrister. Then you've got Sid Ho, and Sid is a well-known political activist, but Sid's also in jail. She's serving a sentence right now.
Right.
So they went in and arrested her. But the one that I think is really, Cardinal Zen's going to be the one that people are a little focused on for. But they arrested Denise. They arrested Denise Ho. So, it shows actually in a lot of ways the broad support for democracy in Hong Kong. You've got the Catholic cardinal. You've got a respected academic. You've got a well-known former politician, political activist in Sid. Dr. Hui being the academic. Yeah. You've got an internationally regarded and well-known barrister in Margaret Un. And you've got probably one of the biggest rap stars, singer, vocal stars in Cantonese, and a well-known LGBT figure. In other words, that's the Hong Kong democracy movement. It's everybody. Yeah. Okay, it's everybody. And let's remember, this fund raised over 100 million Hong Kong dollars like that for the defense of people of Hong Kong. And this is why I hate it so much, because basically all of a sudden everybody had good lawyers. So what they're telling everybody is, we're not going to let you have anything. Okay, we're going to deny you funds. We're going to deny you access to legal representation. And, it's all this bizarre communist 1960s theater. And it's hard. I know it's hard for people to grasp, but I mean, I heard from a retired diplomat today, very senior retired diplomat, who heard about the arrest. And he just said, it seems like they've gone mad, because he said, there's no upside here. None. Okay.
Now, let me just interject a bit. I want to talk about Mr. Lai, Jimmy Lai, your former boss.
Yep.
Now, I heard, we all know that Paul Harris defended Jimmy in one
a long time ago, actually.
And he left. It seems like there are no defense lawyer trying to defend the opposition camp anymore. A lot of them, I heard one law office is in the process or already shut down, probably will be in the news. So what's going on for those who are detained under the NSL?
Well, look, what they did is they did two things. The first thing they did was, which was really restrictive, was they changed how you get a public defender. In the old days, you would go and you would say, I need a public defender. And they'd say, okay, here's your stipend. Here's how much you can pay your public defender. Okay, so I would pick Edward Chin as my public defender, and then you'd agree to that rate. In other words, like, let's say the rate was $1 a day, the commercial going rate was $1.50. It was actually a fairly attractive rate, just so you know. In other words, give the legal lobby in Hong Kong their credit. They had raised that public defense rate up to where it wasn't a penalty to represent somebody. So all the people charged were out getting lawyers that they basically wanted. In other words, you could find a good lawyer. Well, what did they do? They then changed it because that was too effective. These lawyers were too effective. So the government came along and said, now we assign you a lawyer. And so a couple of people, I've heard of a couple of people showing up and having lawyers who are mainland guys who came to Hong Kong to practice who can't speak Cantonese.
Wow. To defend
them. I'm not kidding you. I don't want to name them because I don't want to get in trouble, but 100%, I spoke with the brother of one of these people, and he said, you wouldn't believe it. He said, we can't even talk to the lawyer other than in English. And he says, my father doesn't speak English. So he goes, I have to get on the phone and translate for my father on what's going on. And he said, he doesn't think the guy's a bad guy, but he said, for this guy, he said, he's put his name in the pool to make some money. So all of a sudden the quality of lawyers drops considerably. And the other thing is the message goes out that you better not represent these people. Look, they just tried to intimidate Jimmy's lawyers in London. That's Paul Harris's Chambers, which is now Doherty Chambers, which is now representing Jimmy. They went out of their way. This is a really big deal because what they're doing is activists, journalists, people who are fighting for freedom in the society. What they need is they need backup. They need lawyers. They need the legal system. They need to be able to access finances. So essentially, once a totalitarian regime cuts all of that off. So that's the point. The argument in Hong Kong was before that, well, we have the rule of law. You have lawyers. We run a normal society, and we'll convict you the old-fashioned way. We'll just take you to jail and win the case. Not anymore, as we're seeing. And as we're seeing this week with Jimmy, in court. Jimmy's in court for the first time in history. The first time in history, they are prosecuting a lease case. And they're lying about it. That's the worst thing about it. The prosecutor is lying, and they put a national security judge. Why would you have a national security judge on a case? Why would you have a national security judge on a case with, seriously, on a case that's a lease thing? Why would you put a national security judge on that? Because he'll go along with what the prosecutors want to do, and national security prosecutors. And it's ridiculous. I mean, they're basically charging Jimmy and another gentleman, our administration manager. Now there's somebody who's a big fish in the world. I mean, this guy's an administration manager. They're charging him. They've turned the CFO, who he's turned into a rat. And he's doing, he's sitting there, from what I understand, basically quite embellishing things and outright making a few things up, because I know the situation there. Jimmy had no idea what's going on. It's a lease of 500,000 square feet. It's basically an argument over 1,000 square feet. But the real thing they're lying about is they're trying to convince people that somehow we were getting something for free, that people were getting something for free, that the government was being ripped off. It's basically a science park lease. Basically, you basically buy the land. You buy a 99-year lease and you build what you want to build. They don't care. As long as you don't build more than the ground floor, that's it. I mean, more than the footage you're allowed to build, square footage, you're fine. What we call GFA, but ground, the footage allowed. But my point to you is this: this is really a bad sign. They are tearing things apart piece by piece, and the idea that you would have, if they just wanted this to blow by, they would have let Dr. Hoy fly out. Right. And it said 612 fund is closed. Nothing. Don't worry about it. We're done.
Yeah. Now they arrest all the people in the 612 fund. Now, I don't want to hold you on for too long. We got one more minute.
Sure.
How do you think the so-called one country, two systems, the second half of it, which starts on July 1st?
It's done. It's finished. Look, I don't think John Lee, I'm sure he approved of it. I'm sure he approved of the arrest. But I don't think John Lee in any way, shape, or form was the decision maker here. This was somebody from Beijing who said, we're not going to let this guy get away. Look, I can't even begin to say, and this is a really important point for those of us, for Christians, is we have to remember that we have this moral upper hand on them. And they're always trying to change that. They always are trying to change that. Yeah. John Lee, I don't know if you saw recently, they had this little thing about John Lee, good.
He is a Catholic.
Yeah, John Lee, good Catholic schoolboy.
Yeah.
They literally think they can manipulate that. They literally think they can manipulate that. I'm not kidding you. And the reason why is because they know it has this aura about it. So they want to get it. So this will show John Lee as a good Catholic schoolboy. And this is going to be a test for the Hong Kong diocese. This is really going to be a test for the Catholic Church. Yeah. Are they going to actually protest Cardinal Zen being arrested? You know, because I'll tell you right now, even the Catholics who aren't all that in favor of Cardinal Zen's political activities, they don't like that. And you just sent a message to everybody in Hong Kong. Nothing will be tolerated. One country, two systems, it's over. And I would make the argument now, there's no sense for Hong Kong to have APEC membership. Why would you have it? They're separate. There's no sense for Hong Kong to have any separate customs duties. A lot of people are going to start saying that. In other words, and you know what the problem is, Edward? They seem to be fine with that. I think they seem to be completely fine with that. In their mind, if they can separate Hong Kong off from the rest of the world, I think that's it. But they still have this, as I was saying earlier, they still have this desire to be seen as moral people. It is the most ironic thing when
it's a false pretense.
Yeah, you meet these pro-Beijing people, the Ronnie Chans of the world, the Bernard Chans. You meet these pro-Beijing people who claim to be Christians and all this good stuff. You meet them, and you know, with the moment that I think we are morally superior. You have to understand that. I think there are levels of morality, and I think the people, the national security people, a lot of guys are you know, you're not a moral person if you're out arresting people from the 612 fund. You know, that's where you have a choice in life. And that's where we've seen so many police officers retire. And we're seeing so many civil servants. They basically have crisis of conscience, and God bless them for it. Right. You know, they're leaving for a reason. They're leaving and they're getting out because they can't take it. I know more than a few. I'd say I know, you know, up to 5 who have retired in the last 3 years. You know, really since 2019, fall of 2019. You know, I knew one who retired, literally retired just after 2019, and in fact came to visit in Taiwan and saw me, and he just told me, he said, you know, I used to know him from church, and he actually looked me up. We had seen each other, but you know, really, I have to be honest with you. I was amazed, just amazed at, you know, the number he told me of officers who are retiring, which is why they're going to the mainland now to get officers, because young people don't want to be in it. Once people see something as evil, they don't want to be in it. I mean, every, you know, you just can't get people to join. Who wants to join? What Hong Kong kid wants to join the Hong Kong police force? Right. And then have to arrest, you know, hi, meet your friends today, and everybody's scared to death of you. What if you're a real hot shot? You're really very good at what you do. You're an ace detective. Hey, we'd like you to join the...
Oops. I think the sound was gone. Can you repeat?
Yeah, somebody's calling in on me. Well, look, hey, take care of yourself, and thanks so much, okay? I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Oh, Mark, 30 more seconds, if I may. We will have a World Hong Kong Forum in Toronto on July 1st to 4th, covering many different topics from investments to the political situation. And I would send you more details about it because a lot of people...
If I can be up there, I'll come up. I'll come up.
Yeah.
If I can.
And second thing, may I just ask, Apple Daily Taiwan, right now, is it still up and running under the...
Well, we're not in control of it, but yeah, it's still up and running. This firm that was in trouble, this company that was still there, yeah, it's still running. And that was the weaker of the two papers. In other words, Apple Daily Hong Kong was actually doing much better than Apple Daily Taiwan. And so Apple Daily Taiwan has cut back, and they're still operating. They still put up a website every single day. They've still got close to 300 people working there. And it's very interesting because there's going to be a battle there between the Taiwanese government and the Hong Kong government liquidators over this property. A battle that I'm not out of yet, by the way, just so you know. In other words, we'll have a few things to say about
So
that.
it's still the old editorial management, right?
No, not so much. It's basically a younger group. The old editorial management took their payouts and left.
Okay.
You know, but there's a younger management team in there. They're still doing okay. They're basically still carrying the same Apple message, but not nearly as aggressively. You know, not nearly as aggressively. And it's going to be interesting. You know, the liquidators haven't been able to show up yet. I think anybody who shows up there in Taiwan is going to have a real problem. I think this is going to be a major fight in Taiwan, at least on that. You know, so we'll just see what happens. But anyway, all right.
And I'll send you more details about the World Hong Kong Forum in Toronto.
Okay, great. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mark.